Hi, this is today is June 19 at 29th, and this is our release video for Search Nav and Support Group. And well, I'll be the first one. This iteration, we had a really good delivery that was the getting started videos. Trevor did the design and I did the code part. I will share my screen so you can see it. So this is our new page with all our video tutorials. And yeah, that's it. I mean, we have some improvements that we want, but we are going to do it as soon as possible. But yeah, it looks really great. And also for me, I received the new human translation for our nav and footer. So we are going to do the release today for that. And okay, now it's Megan.
Yeah, I have a few things. Nothing to show, but I'll do a lot of talking. Sorry. Um, First off, with the Marketo stuff, kind of received feedback a little late than I expected. I was like 2 days ago, but I got those updates made. And at this point, I think we're ready, just waiting on Allie's sign off. I think I got everything she called out. Next was adding 6 cents to our nav. That is ready to be reviewed. Just waiting on approval and merge, and then we have to make a nav release to Buyer Experience to get that working. This kind of leads me into my much longer point. One of the issues I worked on was looking into why the navigation is loading slowly on our site. First, I started gathering some data like benchmarks. Something like this is kind of hard to eyeball or quality check with your eyes, because even though it's slow for me, it's much slower for other people. And even if we're making like minute updates that could be improving, it's hard to tell. So now I have like milliseconds on when things are updating and mounting and all that. So what I found in that process was definitely slow, but the navigation is rendering and then it's updating and then it's updating again. Looking into it, it is because of the audience functionality, and that's demand based. And now we just switched to 6 cents, or we will be. And 6 cents is an API call, where demand base is not. So demand base, we just had the script living in there, and it was, while it was kind of slowing things down, we just kind of had the customer information. Now every time a page loads, we got to talk to 6 cents to bring it back down. And that's adding about 100 more milliseconds, which isn't a lot, but when your nav is already slow, it's not a great thing. So talking with Nathan, who's working on adding 6 cents to the pricing page, maybe there's a way, an iteration of some sort after we get 6 cents working on the pricing and the nav. Maybe there's a way we can just make this call once and store it somewhere. And maybe an initial load, the nav is slow, but if we're pulling from like local storage or like a window, like a GTM window object or something, concurrent page loads won't be as slow. So that's something to look into, but there's a lot of experiments and messing around in the code for that. Moving on, the language selector and the footer, I made some accessibility updates. Those are done, and they'll be live in Tammy's nav release. And then finally, the translated homepage. I worked on the German part of that. Thank you, Javi and Tammy, for all your work on that. Kind of managed the release of all those languages, and everything's working great. I think next is Javi. I don't have it pulled up, but
Yeah, you're good. This iteration, I worked on a little bit of things. So I'm just gonna share my screen, and I tried to have it organized. All right. So this is the preference center localized for German and Japanese. I need to push this up. I keep getting those failing builds, so I just got to resolve that. But this is pretty much figured out. We have to wait on the French one, which is awesome. But yeah, that's that. Something that took a lot of my time this iteration is working on this DevOps maturity assessment. So this is released now, and then we're going to make some updates to the questions to make sure that they're up to date. Something that I don't think Trevor has seen. I was going to ping him earlier today. Is this guy's making some progress. This is the integrations page. Just some UI updates that need to be finished up, but I got a lot of this done yesterday, kind of after hours when folks were not pinging me. So that was awesome. And I think that's it. Oh, one last thing. I worked through this tabbing links in the nav and footer. We had this weird issue where Safari and Firefox had weird behavior with how tabbing worked related to accessibility. Pulled up all this information, pretty much found that like this is default behavior for Mac OS in particular among different browsers. I have an MR up talking about accessibility and how this relates to these. Essentially, like users have to turn these on their browsers on their end, and that's nothing that we can control. So we kind of had some conversation about this, and then we just followed up with an MR. That's it for me. Up next, John.
Thank you, Javi. Well, for this iteration, most of my time were invested on working on redirections of the localized of the language selector. So in buyer experience, we have right now, when a user clicks any link, if the user has, for example, French as their preferred language, the page should redirect them to the next French localized page. Right now, currently, we have the user is going to the English page and then to the French page. So I removed that that step, and right now the users are redirected directly to the page. We found some bugs on that one, so I need to keep iterating on that one, but still working on that. And also I work on improving our fonts loading in buyer's experience. So right now I change it from getting the fonts from an external source. Right now we are going to locally load them. So that improves the speed of the fonts loading. And that's it for me. It's mostly coding, so I do not have anything to share. Next one is Trevor.
Thanks, John. So for this iteration, from the design side, made some progress on the Q3 survey report experience. So really excited how that's progressing, as well as some things that we've been learning from the Q1 and Q2 release that'll help support how we approach Q3. So yeah, really excited about the progress there. Also supported with design QA. So the how-to videos landing page. So great work, TME on that. And then the assessment experience. So great work, Javi, on that. So yeah, that was my iteration. I'll pass it over to Lauren.
Super big iteration for the team. Did a little quick one at the beginning, which turned into kind of a big one. We renamed our solutions AI page to GitLab Duo, and we announced that with the GitLab 16 launch. And we've got access to Argo now, and we have, you know, a dev environment set up, and me and Megan are starting to dive into our continuous localization platform. And yeah, so great iteration for SNS, and we'll see everyone next week.